Jack Daddy Show. It's the real Jack Daddy Show. It's the real Jack Daddy Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Real Chat Daddy Show. Good evening, and welcome to the Real Chat Daddy Show. With that being said, I want to say hello to each and every one of you. It is Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, and today is the 1-year anniversary of the passing of George Floyd, or the murder, as most of us witnessed all over the world. And it was a day that has changed the world as we know it. And so tonight we're going to have a conversation about the life and times of George Floyd, what the untimely death of George Floyd has done for our country, for us as a people as a whole. And tonight I have several people that will be joining me to talk about the life of George Floyd 1 year later. And then later on in the show tonight, we'll welcome a gentleman who is a co-founder behind a new African-American owned and operated ad agency that goes by the name of Nature Boy. And so we'll find out about how these two gentlemen came to know each other, how they worked with each other over the years, and just who do they serve with their new agency. So we're looking forward to talking to them tonight on the show. Our co-host is just a little delayed this evening. As soon as our co-host is able to join us, we'll pop the co-host in. In other news today, unfortunately, we got the very sad news about young Kyron Taylor from Kansas City, Missouri. As you guys all know, he was found in the river not far from the hotel out in Hammond, Indiana, where he was reported missing. And he had been missing for 10 days, and he had been found, of course, found dead in the river. So we sent our thoughts and prayers and condolences out to his family on his untimely death. And it's just so sad that a young man like that, who is curious, just stepped away from the hotel, just a few, they were saying 300 feet away from the hotel, fell into that water and actually ended up dying like that. It's just horrible. Actress Holly Robinson Peete, who is, as we all know, a huge autism advocate, and also the mom of a young person with autism. She has just been doing a tremendously wonderful plea on social media, asking people to help find this young man. She's offering words of support and encouragement. And today she released a beautiful statement in response to them finding him in that river and us hoping for better outcome than that. But we do want our thoughts and prayers to go out to his family, and we're so sorry about that. All right, what else do we have to talk about? I think our co-host is here with us now. Let's bring him in. There he is. Good evening, sir. How are you? You guys
Peace, love, and soul, baby. Peace, love, and soul.
Peace, love, and soul. You are hilarious. How are you, peace, love, and soul? Good to see you tonight.
Good to see you, too. Your legendary greatness. Thank you for having me on again, as usual.
I appreciate you, sir. I really, really, really do. I got a chance to see you out and about this past weekend. And as you know, as well as I know, the world seems to be opened back up and people are having a great time. And so, you being someone much like myself with a pre-existing health condition, but also being someone who is very much in the public eye, and you help other people to be in the public eye. What has this been like for you with this whole everybody's so free now?
Well, the first thing is, and again, before we get started, all praises go to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. The first thing, Art, is that we have to remember that there will never be a normal that we had before. This is going to be a new normal. Psychologically, we've been conditioned in 3 or 4 different places, right? First, we had to be conditioned that there was a pandemic. Then we had to be conditioned that you need to wear a mask and practice mitigation efforts, right? And that took a tremendous amount of effort and change. Then we had to be convinced that there actually is a vaccine and there's a possible way out of this thing aside from 4 or 5 years. You have to do convincing for that. So there's a lot of convincing that has to be done. I don't know how it is for you, but you're like me. You're a people person. So when I approach somebody, I don't know whether I start feeling like it's the 1970s. What we gonna do? We gonna do this? We gonna do this? We gonna, we gonna bump hips? What are we gonna
Right.
do? Some
Right.
people don't know whether to hug you. Some people
Right.
don't know whether to shake your hand. Some
Yes.
people don't know whether to wear a mask. But I'm here to
Right.
say this. All of that trepidation is normal. I've
Right.
spoken with therapists. I've spoken with public health officials. They say it's okay for us to feel confused. That's just how it is. This has been a really titanic change culturally. So, of course, there's going to be some confusion. There's going to be some trepidation. We're right around 54% of the nation, almost 60% of the country has had at least one shot. So we're getting there, but we're not there yet. And let's be clear, guys, that the pandemic is not over. People are still dying on a daily basis. It's just not at the level that it was before.
Right.
And we're starting to put in stopgaps. So just be respectful of each other. If someone decides to wear a mask, don't denigrate them. If someone doesn't want to hug you or shake your hand, they just want to do the elbow, don't be offended. We're only going to get through this together. And so that's kind of my thought process.
All right, very good. Well, you're absolutely right. When I am out in public, it's a strange dynamic now. So I'm always going to have a mask on when I walk into wherever. I'm going to do that.
Yep.
But the simple reason is I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know if somebody is going to kiss me, hug me, high five me. I just don't know, how to handle that part. Now, as far as people, there are people who just have grabbed me and wanted to hug me, and I'm fully vaccinated. I appreciate the hug. And that it's a lot to that. So I'm with you on that. I really am on that one. We'll continue to wear my mask. I have no problem with wearing them. I love them. I have plenty of them to wear. And then
what are we gonna do with them? Make a quilt at the end of after all of this anyway?
Kevin, that's kind of what I wanted to do. Like, what do we do with these? I mean, some of them you probably can use in the bedroom, don't get me wrong. But then others, I mean, but yeah, like the 4th of July.
There you go. I thought we said you wasn't going to start with none of that today. I thought we was going to be good.
No, but I mean, something, look at this, Kevin, something like this. I mean, that could be enticing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, trust me. I got a couple of Marvel Comics masks that'll set it off, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that.
Right, we'll just leave it. Right, we just the screen divider over here, and we're gonna leave that alone. Right.
Okay, so listen. Today we had 808 new COVID-19 cases or probable cases. This has been the lowest number in 2 months, and we only had 17 fatalities in the last 24 hours. This now brings the state of Illinois total number of known cases to 1,377,249 cases. Unfortunately, we have had 22,650 deaths. And this was the 3rd consecutive day with reported cases under 1,000, and it's the lowest death total since we had 782 cases March 15th. So our case loads are going down. Our positivity rate is decreasing or is staying, at one particular place. You don't hear people saying they're as sick as they used to be, but Kevin, if we think about this, the number of people getting the vaccine shots are starting to decline as well, too.
Absolutely.
The United Center is strictly switching over to drive-up vaccines, which I'm sure, people will still go do that. The rideshare companies now are going to give you a free ride to and from getting the vaccine. They're making this attractive for those that have not been vaccinated yet. And Kay Renee and I talked about this yesterday. People like us who are concerned, worried, and what I consider good American citizens, we got no incentive other than we thought our life would be spared. And we would spare other people's lives.
Or we're good people. And that's just, that goes back to the point of the whole pandemic, Art, was to show us who we are and to show us who we need to be and to show us who we can be. That was the point of the entire pandemic. And this is what I told somebody. I really pray that we start to see a little more of a turning in that direction, because you know what? The next time we're not going to get off so light. And again, my prayers to those who have lost someone from COVID. I don't mean to make light of any losses whatsoever. It's been a heavy price paid on all fronts. But this was a warning. And again, you know me, I'm very spiritual.
So let me, do you think, not to cut you off, but do you think this was a warning, like, because this is the wrath of God, maybe, that this pandemic?
Not necessarily wrath. See, wrath of God is a big meteorite the size of Texas that simply wipes the planet off the map.
Gotcha.
That's the wrath of God. That's your Moses, and I'm Joseph, and me and you are trying to grab a whole bunch of animals and get in an ark. That's wrath of God. Right?
Okay.
That's something you can do nothing about. That's when nature comes in and shuts it all down. So this was a warning. This was a warning that God says you need to take a look at who you've been idolizing. You need to take a look at how you've treated each other. You need to take a look at ego versus the spirit. That's my perception, and that's my truest belief, is that this was a warning from God that the next time he's not going to be quite as forgiving. I just don't think so. And that's why it's important for us to take the lessons that we've learned from this, start to respect those who work not only with us, but for us. Right. Those who put their lives on the line, their livelihoods are geared towards making our lives better, and they do that willingly. We should respect that. We should understand that. Black and brown peoples are no different than white peoples in any respect. We are all human beings. This is about human rights at this point. It's about human awareness at this point. If we don't get this point, we're going to have problems later on down the line. So that's what I'm really hoping, is that we start to understand that. And, you're not going to turn a whole culture around in a year. That's not going to happen. You're not going to turn a whole planet around to think differently in a year. This is a process. But it's the beginning of one. And that's what I'm hoping everyone sees. Okay. All right.
I'll go with you on that one. I will. Let's see. What else do we have in news today? Of course, this is the 1-year anniversary since the murder of George Floyd. And coming up in just a little bit, veteran radio personality, all around great guy, our good friend, Mr. Chris Bass, will be joining us.
All right.
And we will have a conversation about the life and times of George Floyd, how everything unfolded 1 year ago today, what we witnessed, just as Black men, some of the issues and things that we still face in today's society. So I'm looking forward to that conversation in just a little bit. What else you got in news today? Today is National Drink Wine Day. Are you a wine connoisseur?
I'm not. It must be, whenever I co-host with you or I tune into your show, because I'm a fan, sometimes I just watch. And is there a national something day for every day of the year? Is there 365? I saw everything from National Love Your Pet Day to Love Your, Secretary's Day to Drink Wine Day. I've lost track of none of these. I only know two days. I only know my mother's birthday, and if I'm dating somebody, Valentine's Day, so I don't get my ass whipped. That's all. That's what I know. That's all I know.
Oh my God, that's horrible. That's horrible. So yes, every day of the year there is something observed. Yesterday was National Brothers Day, and so it was to honor and recognize, brothers in people's life, whether natural brother like you and I consider brothers, that type of thing. So yesterday was that day, but today is National Drink Wine Day. But yes, every day there is something. And our good friend, who I love her, Miss Lynn Klein, who's a fan of this show, Lynn now, she posts these days every day. And the funniest thing is I used to have to go and look them up every day. Now I'll look at Lynn's post in the morning and I'll say, "Oh, thanks for the reminder, Lynn." And so, yes, but today is National Wine Day. And so you said you're not a wine connoisseur.
No, actually I am. Actually, wine is after my my little heart incident. I was told that red wine or one glass a day would be good for me, is what I was told. So I actually, before that, was a wine connoisseur. I had a little bit at the event I saw you at on a Sunday.
Okay.
I had a glass of libation, and it was red wine, so I'm good to go.
Okay. All right. Well, make sure you guys get in some wine today or over the holiday weekend. Don't forget moderation is key. I am are you a red or white, or, the new thing now is rosé?
I'll do a rosé. That's probably my second choice. I am definitely white, and I like sweet
Okay.
wines. I got a sugar problem. That's we'll talk about that on another show. I got a whole candy situation. I got issues with sugar since I was a kid. But I like what is the really sweet white wine? What is
Oh,
that? It's
Moscato.
I'm a Moscato. I'm
Oh,
hood. I'm
oh,
hoodie. I'm a hoodie. I'm
oh,
a hood guy.
Lord.
I'm a
Oh,
hoodie.
Evelyn, I'm gonna have to look at you in a whole different light now, because yeah, you are absolutely right. You might as
I am
well
a hoodie.
look. You might as well have on some furry slides and a bunny.
Man,
Now, right?
look, I'm right, exactly. I might as well and have my shower cap up here,
Right.
covering the twist.
Oh my God! And no disrespect to anybody who's in that
None at all.
demographic.
We
We
love
just
you.
trying to
We
show
love
y'all
you.
some love. Y'all, we
We
know y'all
love
love
y'all.
Moscato. We know
One
y'all
one
love
day there
Moscato.
one day there will be a shower cap in the daytime outside day. National Shower Cap
No,
Day.
As soon as Chris Bates join us, we gonna talk about that anyway. Because remember, we've got to talk about a new rule that's been implemented someplace. So we'll
Right.
talk about that in just a little bit. All right, you have
Got it.
anything else in the news you want to talk about tonight?
Basically, I wanted to. I saw you talking about it while I was in the waiting room. The young man that was lost. I wanted to comment a little on that. I'm working on an autism project myself
And
with
his
a
name
friend
was
of mine.
Kyron. It wasn't Taylor, was it? Let me see. Kyron.
No, I don't think so.
Wait, hold on. I had it here in my notes and I deleted it by accident. Let's see. The young man's name is Kyron Carter. I apologize. I
Kyron
called him
Carter.
Taylor earlier, you all. So my
Right.
apologies. And again, our condolences to the family. Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, Kyron. I'm working on a project, an autism project myself, a 10-chapter book based on my friend's daughter who is autistic.
Okay.
And we have that book getting ready to, it's being edited as we speak. It's getting ready to go to Amazon. Basically, it tells her story of when her daughter was diagnosed, and kind of some of the things that parents and families go through with autism. And we intend to actually reach out to Holly Robinson Pete as well as other celebrities to support this. It's about an African American girl, and then as we most people don't know, autism is very difficult to talk about in the African American community and in African American families. It's viewed with a kind of a schism, or as a something that we don't talk about, just like mental health. So condolences to the family of this young man. But we have to become more autism aware. In the 4 months I've worked on this project, I've educated myself more. I have an understanding about autism and being on the spectrum. And I think as a culture, if there's, and as a people, if you know of anyone, even if it's just your friend's daughter or son, you should try to educate yourself a little bit. Just do a little reading once a week about autism. It will change your life. It certainly changed mine. And I think the more educated we are, the better we treat each other.
Oh, absolutely. That was a great statement you made. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, our thoughts and prayers go out to that family. Just tragic in so many ways. Because really, I hate to say it, brother. After 2 days, I knew in my heart something was really wrong, that young man had to have been gone, because
Right.
again, no shoes on, where was he getting food, things like that.
Right.
And so I knew then. And then when the search just continued to start going on, people had all kind of speculations and rumors and things like that. And what's so sad is that young man was really no more than 300 or 400 feet away from where he walked away from.
Right.
And, ended up in that water. So again, our thoughts and prayers go out to that family, and we are just so sorry to them. And again, was visiting from out of town, and to have had a tragedy happen just, like that is just a lot. All right. Well, brother, let's see. What else do we need to talk about? Anything else you have in the news going on? What do you think about all of the things opening back up? Buckingham Fountain, Navy Pier. Will I be seeing you running through the concourse of those places soon?
Probably not. I probably should say, actually, just for the audience, I have been fully vaccinated. I took the 2 shots. Quite obviously, there's been, a great deal of controversy and consternation surrounding this entire process. What I'll say is this: the pandemic itself and the virus are very real. Anything around that, I fully understand people being confused or even mistrustful. We now have a government, and we now have in our culture, a place in our culture where the truth has basically become something to question at this point. Things we were really not sure when we're looking on social media. Are we seeing that person for real? When the government tells us something, is that information that we can trust? Is the government for the people, by the people anymore? Was it ever for the people, by the people? So I fully understand the confusion and the mistrust. But at the end of the day, there's only going to be really one way to get through this, and that's to go through the process. If it's about vaccinations, let's go through the process together. Let's just go ahead and get it done. I know that I was very frustrated when I went to go get vaccinated a couple of months ago. I couldn't find a place. And when I log on for the United Center, and it's like Hunger Games, and you get in there and they tell you, yeah, it's available. And then you try to pick an hour and it's gone. I can understand everyone's frustration. The system wasn't set up properly. But at this point, there's only really one way to get through it. And that way is to go through the process, whether you believe in our government or not, whether you believe it started in a lab in Wuhan, China, that's behind us. Those things are behind us at this point. We need to be looking forward and looking ahead. As to your question, I didn't mean to wander too far. You're probably not going to see me at Lollapalooza. I'm just going to be real honest about that.
You mean at Germapalooza?
I mean at Andromeda Strain Part 2.
You mean at Dish-a-loser. You mean toilet stool-a-loser. Yeah.
That's a bad idea amongst a litany of bad ideas. And I know that there are politics involved. You and I both know how the city runs. You and I both know that our wonderful, wondrous mayor is under some pressure from other parties. So from a financial standpoint, obviously, there are some things that are going to drive some decisions here. Lollapalooza is a bad decision. I think Navy Pier is a bad decision. I think that these mass events are bad decisions until we reach the 80% vaccinated threshold. That's just my personal belief.
All right. Well, with that being said, for those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. Really, really glad to be here with you guys on this beautiful evening. But tonight we're here to commemorate the life and times of George Floyd. It was 1 year ago today that the unfortunate unfolding of his untimely death happened right before our eyes, and much has happened not only here in our country, but all over the world as a result of the death of George Floyd. And so tonight we're going to talk about George Floyd's life. I'm going to add another voice to this conversation, a gentleman who's been here with us many times before. He served as co-host, guest, good friend, radio icon and legend. He is the boom shakalaka, the one and only Mr. Chris Bass, and we are glad to have him here tonight joining us. Hey, brother, how are you?
How you doing, brothers? And boom shakalaka to both of you. How you doing, Chad Daddy, and to Kevin Ross? How you doing, gentlemen?
Good. How you doing,
boss man?
Hey, you got the good hand, man. I'm just trying to follow your lead.
Well, that's okay. Glad to see you. Glad to have you here. I wanted to assemble just a great group of guys. Kevin was already scheduled to be co-host tonight. I got up today and I said, you know what? I need to have powerful Black men to talk tonight, and let's share our thoughts and feelings about the death of George Floyd. Where do we go from all of this? What have we learned from this? And what do we think the world has learned from this? Before we get into that conversation, I do want to talk about something that is trending in the news right now, gentlemen. A steakhouse here in Chicago, a high-end steakhouse downtown, Steak 48. And did I say that correctly? Steak
you did.
48. Yes.
That's it.
They have now implemented a new dress code and policy at their steakhouse. And from reading the list, I'll give you guys just a little taste of what they say. Sweatsuits or workout attire, which includes running, gym shorts, sports bras, will not be allowed. Polo style shirts with collars are allowed, but not frayed shirts that are not, the shirts ripped, all that type of stuff. No athletic material, big like logos, that type of stuff. They want you to keep it really classy. They've even said that women in corset tops with no coverings, bustiers, no baseball paraphernalia. If you are coming in smelling a certain way, they don't want you in there as well. Long story short, a lot of people feel that this is boiling down to minorities being and you know who I'm talking about, folks that look like us, people that's been dipped in chocolate, are being discriminated against. And they now have imposed a policy of $100 must be spent per customer that's coming into place. $100 must be spent per customer. What do you gentlemen think about this? Now, I'm going to say this real quick to you guys. I've had 2 high-end dining experiences recently downtown. I just had one this past Friday. And the place where I was dining did not necessarily have anything posted about how not to come in looking, but they did have a maitre d' who he cut it off at the door. We have no reservations. Sir, we have a certain standard, all of that. And I will admit, what was coming through the door was quite shocking to me. What do you guys think?
Well, I'll just say the following. As we all know, it's the establishment and they make the rules. But where is the origin story where these rules come from? You just said, Art, about people that look like us. We have a certain look. We have a certain swag. We have a certain wardrobe. And it would apply to that as well. You also have people who don't look like us who apply to the same wardrobe. So where you draw the line at? I mean, it's for everybody, just for a certain amount of people. Also, the fact that one of the rules that I saw on there was about, smelling a certain way, like marijuana, things like that. And no offense to people who smoke weed, that's your business. But when it gets really loud, I don't know when to mix that with your restaurant experience. And I really don't think so. And again, to other, you're supposed to smell like the wafting of the foods in the restaurant, not somebody who just smoked a bad bitch. No offense, it's just one of those things. I don't think you want to smell that. And I think, again, when you look at how establishments are, there are places where they don't have rules like that. You come in as is, it's who you are, and you spend your money. Obviously, there's been a problem. You have people coming in and to say spend a certain dollar amount. I wonder again what the backstory would that had to be. People coming in not spending that much, and now you really get into the bare bones. I think what the whole thing is. The whole thing is, as Kevin said earlier about Stankapalooza is going to come up in August. Stank to be damn palooza, as I call it. That type of thing always goes to money. The bottom line is always the revenue. So if you're able to control the dollars, you can control the people who have the dollars coming into your establishment.
Right. Well, let me say this. You are absolutely correct about people of all backgrounds doing it, because I do know people of other races who dress just as urban and all of that, but they are trying to keep that whole urban vibe and look out of there. So I'm not necessarily saying this is all Black people, because I have gone to other high-end restaurants. I was there on a Sunday. And one family came in and they had 4 babies and a baby in baby strollers. Everybody had on like literally like they had just left a ball game type of attire. And I wasn't necessarily used to seeing that in this particular high-end restaurant. And I guess another couple, we had kind of caught each other's eye, was kind of laughing about it. And so people were saying, well, people got money. They trying to treat themselves to high-end experiences. I get that. But it also threw the entire dynamic of that restaurant off by just the way they came in there looking and behaving. And so I think that's a big part of it. Now, here's the deal, Base. There are people that will come in there and see that a baked potato might be $14 and a baked potato is a la carte. So now, if you don't have that type of money, what you think they're getting ready to sit there and order?
Probably some lemon juice and water and sugar.
That's the other issue. Now, some restaurants that require you to make reservations are requiring you to put money up front now. And the money that you put up front is then deducted from your tab. And then these people are calling to ask, are you still coming? Hell yeah, you got my money. I'm still coming. Kevin, what you think about this situation? We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you.
How's that?
Great.
We good? We good?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, you and Chris both of you make excellent points. I think what we have to look at the end of the day in this country is capitalism and the dollar. And the dollar is the driver, whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not. The dollar is the driver. In this particular case, I don't believe that it is it's geared just towards African Americans or people of color. I believe it's geared toward the millennial customer, who generally that's not going to be their customer base. And they know this. So they have no problem implementing this because they know that the average millennial would much rather go down the street about a half mile to a sports bar where they can dress that way. So that's probably what this is. The other concern that I had coming out of the pandemic, and what I kind of felt was going to happen based on human nature and culture, is that everyone was going to try to make up for the losses in the pandemic in the first month, right? So the average party that you go to, an average event that you go to, now costs $60 as opposed to $20 for the same thing, basically, that you were going to get before the pandemic, because everyone now is trying to get in the rush and get back to quote unquote normal and get back in the mix. And the dollar is going to be a real driver here in the next few months. A lot of companies are going to try to make up for lost revenue, lost opportunities. And we're going to see more things like this. We're going to see more changes like this, unfortunately, I believe.
Yeah, and we've got to keep in mind that the price of everything has gone up. Meat, poultry, seafood, everything has gone up, and we are experiencing a shortage in a lot of things. And then I hate to play the devil's advocate in this, but once all of this good money everybody is getting dries up, you will see a shift in difference as well too. Kay Renee and I have spoke many times that right now everybody is treating this like the Roaring 20s, but keep in mind, after the Roaring 20s came the Great Depression
and Prohibition as well. We got to figure Prohibition in there and some of these other things. And as much as in the Great Depression, actually, there were a great deal of entrepreneurs born during the Great Depression, grocery stores. More movies and films were made because they were made very cheaply and charging a nickel to go in and watch the movie. So you had creativity to counter the poverty that everyone was experiencing, as well as the feelings of struggle and suffering that the country had. And you would think that based on what we come out of, that we would have learned a lesson from the Great Depression, and we would approach it that way, very similar to the New Deal, FDR's New Deal, which helped get the country back on its feet also. We should really look at the past and start looking at following the types of blueprints that have proven to be successful. Unfortunately, we're in a little bit of a different time, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later once we get to Congress and some other things that are happening. But, it's going to be some changes. That's why I said at the top of the broadcast, it's not normal. We're not going back to normal. This is a new normal.
Very good.
So,
all right. Well, thank you so much. Yes. All right, gentlemen. Well, what we're here for tonight is to definitely talk about the fact that this marks the first year anniversary of the untimely and unfortunate death of George Floyd. George Floyd, who was a 46-year-old black man, was murdered by a Minneapolis police officer. He was arrested at a convenience store on May 25th of 2020. And this was a day that will go down in history. This was a day that has changed things. Kevin, I'm going to let you start off by giving us timeline, or not so much a timeline, but a snapshot of where you were when you saw this, when you learned about George Floyd? Because before that, you didn't know George Floyd. I didn't know George Floyd, and Base didn't know George Floyd.
Right. So for me, I guess to answer the first part of your question, and then we'll run through the timeline a little bit. I'd seen through social media that there was an uproar, and that, of course, in today's in today's world, in today's culture, social media is going to beat the news every single time, right?
Exactly.
Social media is the new news. It's
Right.
the new news network, Instagram and Facebook. So I clicked on the video that was taken by the young lady, which actually ended up being one of the pivotal pieces of evidence that helped turn that trial and really help the entire movement worldwide. And so with you two brothers on here, I'm going to be very honest. I've only watched that video once. I've never gone back again to see it. I've never had a wish to go back and see it again, because that's one of those things you only need to see once in this lifetime. I don't care who you are.
Right.
It was horrifying to see. I can still see, if I close my eyes, I can still see the way his head was tilted towards the camera. And I just remember distinctly the thing that disturbed me the most. There were two things. It was the way Derek Chauvin, his face was absolutely expressionless. There was no remorse, none. And the other thing was that this man was dying and he urinated on himself. And you could see that creep into the camera shot. Those two things are sights that, I'm 58 years old. If I live to be 88 or 98, I'll never forget watching that and seeing it.
Right.
I just won't. So that's the first thing. That's where I was when it happened. It was just an afternoon. I was working as usual, from home, and saw the video. And I knew then we were going to have an issue, because immediately BBC News over in London, other news outlets started chiming in, and I said, this is probably not going to be like the usual.
Right.
This is going to be this is going to move the needle, and it did. And in terms of, I know you and I spoke about the timeline. I've kind of came up with a shortened version of it, because to read the entire thing would be really, really long. Or
No. That's why I asked you. I said, just give us a snapshot. Really, you've given us a great explanation of laying it all out anyway. So at this point, just hold that base. Where were you a year ago today? You did not know a George Floyd. It changed as he, Kevin just said many things: international news, world policies, procedures, police brutality. Go back to that day and tell us where you were.
I was here at home, and on social media, I read the headlines. The video wasn't out yet on my timeline. Then I saw the video that most, if not all, the networks had displayed on the evening news. And I saw a man die. I saw a man, and now we get the timeline of 9 minutes and 29 seconds, calling out for his mother. When he said "mama," I believe he was seeing his mother. His mother had preceded him before, unfortunately, he passed away. I believe he was seeing his mother. I think his mother was saying, "Come on home, son."
Mm-hmm.
And that just, it shook me to my core like anybody else. Interesting thing, when I was looking at that and the stories afterwards, for some reason this came to mind, this phrase. When Muhammad Ali became the champion, when he first beat Sonny Liston, the first thing he told the world was, "I shook up the world."
That's right.
That's what George did in his own way.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have died, but he shook up the world. And the world was put on notice from that day forward.
Mm-hmm.
Had it not been for that young lady and that videotape, I'll be quiet.
Right.
Now, we talking about being brothers here. I thought Derek Chauvin was going to walk. Because my thing was this: why you want to change now? In fact, there was another case during the trial, outside of Minneapolis, where that lady shot that young brother.
Right.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay, brother. Let me just say this, because that's a very, very, very valid point you brought up about Darren Chauvin. he was not going to walk. He might not get as severe as we think. Something might happen up the road, but he was not going to walk. He was made an example of. We know he was guilty now, but he is now the poster child of police brutality. You will now go to prison because you did something wrong. The world saw you do something wrong. And then here's the deal. The United States cannot afford any more financial loss. So he had to be the sacrificial lamb. He had to be, because guess what? If he would have walked, nothing would be standing in the United States of America, because people would have been looting, rioting, you name it, just things would have been just out of control. It would have been that level that I was talking about earlier, Kevin, when you said, now that's animals and nature coming in and just like a tsunami. It would be on that level if that man had walked. Now I'm gonna let you get back to your point, but I knew he wasn't gonna walk. I knew that. Now he may not have things severe on him, but he definitely was not gonna walk.
Yeah, and I thought he was, and here's the reason why. Philando Castile, who was also Minnesota, his was caught on tape. He was caught in real time, and that officer unleashed all these bullets in him on real time. So again, I'm looking at, look, I guess nobody got the memo. Look, don't kill any people of color while the trial is going on in Minneapolis. Don't kill nobody yet. Now, maybe later on down the road, we'll get back to that, quote unquote, but I thought it'd be business as usual. That's the only reason I thought he would walk or be a life sentence, but I'm glad, like anybody else, that he became the poster child, like you said, Chat Daddy, but still, I had that in the back of my mind that he just may, do this. But here's the thing, too. When you look at the history of our people in this country, we were never safe. I mentioned about Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner. I go on and on. The names are endless. What about the names of the brothers and sisters we don't know about? What about them that have not been documented in the death or the hands of evil law enforcement? Right. So we have to think about those people as well in our mindset. These people, all they want to do is just be and live. But when you come from a point of evil, I do believe in pure evil. You come from a point with Derek Chauvin and there's other Chauvins like him. There's a mindset that says, you know what, you're not even human. I'll save a dog before I say a person of color, depending on the mindset of that person. And that is beyond disturbing. It was a wake-up call for all of us. I said before, with his death, worldwide, George Floyd shook up the world.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What do you think is next, gentlemen? What do you think? Today, the Floyd family was invited to the White House to meet with the president. It was really cute to hear George Floyd's daughter say his name. Still, we saw where the Asian hate crime was in that, signed, but yet, the African American or the Black hate crime has not, happened, but yet we continue to see our own people in just all kind of crazy situations. Are we getting weird feedback? What is that? Anybody have their volume up?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I hear feedback in the conversation. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys clearly.
Okay, like somebody might not have earbuds or the volume up. That's okay. So how do we help ourselves to be better and yet help to end police brutality? What do you think about that, Kevin?
Well, the first thing is we have to take a look at where we are today, right? 30 states of our 50 states have legislation pending regarding police conduct. That still leaves 20 states that don't have anything on the table. As long as we continue to live in two Americas, we're going to have this difficulty. And there's a rush right now to get Congress to act while there is a Democratic majority as a result of that, because there's a stalemate in terms of actually progressively changing policing and police reform in America. And again, as long as we live in what I call the two Americas, this is always going to be difficult. Remember that the Civil Rights Act of 1964, guys, was blocked by a number of southern states and was filibustered by one individual in particular. So change has always been difficult. We're still in the same position. I'm not 100% comfortable with Tim Scott being the person spearheading these efforts, with him being the only African-American Republican senator. I'm not confident in that. We need changes that are solid, that are decisive. We don't need to have questions about who's instituting them or why. And we are still involved, whether we like it or not, we're still involved with a problem. Most people don't really even know the true history of policing in this country. The history of policing in this country was slave catchers. They were slave catchers and glorified security guards. And they were there to protect not the rights of the people. They were there to protect the rights and the property of those who were in positions of power and finance. And we're not too different from that today. Even if you look within our own city, and there were riots downtown, there were plenty of riots out south. There was plenty of looting out south. And yet the police were deployed downtown and the bridges were raised. We're still not away from the mindset of law enforcement. And the sticking point in Congress is the police accountability and the ability for them to be sued in civil matters. That is the point of contention holding up a lot of the legislation, is that particular part of the police reform. And that's always been a problem. The same way that police unions are really a difficulty that we have to learn to surmount. We have to deal with police unions. This isn't about the juries that are selected. This isn't about the judges. This isn't about the mayors. This is about police unions that protect officers. $1 million was spent on the defense of Derek Chauvin by the Minneapolis Police Officers Union. These are the types of things that we need to look at. This is where the real issues come in.
Okay. Base, what do you think?
To fight racism will always be the never-ending battle. We have to get our minds around that. It's each one teach one. Sometimes you cannot look for our so-called leaders to help us, because a lot of these leaders are really helping themselves. So we need to look within ourselves and find out where we can help solutions to ourselves. We need to talk to our families, talk to our friends, talk to our neighbors, have that discussion. You'll have more of a dialogue with your neighbor across the street, next door neighbor to somebody from Congress, or somebody's going to be so-called representing you. It's it has to start within. It has to start from home. So home is where you are, home is your family, home is your friends. And that circle of people that you know and love, start there. It has to start from somewhere, and then have honest dialogue conversations. My dad, God rest his soul, had a talk with me about, when you go into a store, son, you're already targeted. They're going to think you're going to steal something, and you don't steal, but they're going to see it. And that's the talk we have to have with our children, because if they don't know, they're walking into a world that's going to come after them anyway. So as my family always said, always know your surroundings. So no matter where you go, people don't look at you strange, because to them you are strange. But it's how you hold yourself, hold your chin up, how you comport yourself, how you act around other people. That goes back to how you were raised and the love that family has for you. But it also has to be real talk. As they say, keep it 100, and we got to double keep it 200.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. I could not. All right. Very good. Well, gentlemen, I don't know. Where do we go from here that we don't see? Well, kind of, you both gave me that explanation, but I'm just still trying to figure out, if we reach out to help our own, if we continue to try to change the world in which we live in, I think we'll all probably be so stressed out before we ever get to where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? Because we seem as if like we're hamsters on that wheel, always trying to strive for greater greatness, but it's just not happening. It's almost like we're stagnant.
Well, until we can admit again and accept, and first of all, this isn't going to be just one group or another that solves anything, right? Until we can admit and accept, until America can admit and accept that there are two Americas. There's the 1776 America that they tried to teach kids about in school and expect that education to carry us through our adult lives. And then there's the 1619 America, where the truth of the country and the truth of the different platforms that were established in that day that still exist today, that those truths have to be brought to the forefront. They have to be acknowledged, and then they have to be changed. This isn't any different than anything that we would have, any problem that we would have personally, guys. If we have something personal that we're dealing with, right? If, let's just say my problem is I don't tell the truth, right? Until I can admit that I don't tell the truth, and then until I can look at why I don't tell the truth, until I go to a therapist and we talk it out and figure out why I don't tell the truth, what am I afraid of? These are all conversations that need to be had. And until we can have honest conversations, none of this is going to change. We live in two Americas. That's not going to change. Now, what's going to change is the dynamic of the country. In 20 years, the Latino culture is going to be the dominant culture of color numerically in this country.
Oh,
now,
absolutely.
The numbers are going to
you said within 20 years?
Yeah, 20 years.
I take that back.
Based on the growth rate.
Okay, but I think less than 20 years. I think less than 20 years. And I'm going to say this, and I've been saying this. If you even look at areas in Chicago that were predominantly Black, most of those areas now are transitioning into Hispanic or even Asian. And right. I'm talking about communities that were tried and true communities in Chicago for many years. We're talking about Canaryville, Bridgeport. We're talking about even East Inglewood, areas like that. That's right. That people of other ethnicities have pretty much taken these areas over again. And I think that the Latin population or the Latinx, they are definitely I won't even say 20 years. I'll give it 10 years that they will be the dominant culture. Right.
And the reason for that, besides the points that you just made, immigration. That's why immigration reform on the Republican side is such a sticking point, because they've seen these numbers. They know where these numbers are going, and they're very concerned about it. So that's kind of, until we can have honest conversations about this country and about who runs this country and where we are as a country, until we can have, there was the kid that was just won 4 Billboard Music Awards for the country music awards, and he was caught on tape using the N-word. He wasn't even allowed to be at the Billboard Awards, where he still won the awards.
That's right. We
don't have honest conversations in this country as Americans, and we don't have honest conversations with each other. Even as African Americans, we don't have honest conversations. African Americans who have money and consider themselves successful don't think there's a problem. Ask Lil Wayne. African Americans who haven't been directly affected by police violence or brutality or misconduct don't think there's a problem. Tim Scott doesn't think there's a problem. Candace Owens doesn't think there's a problem. There's a problem.
Yes,
there's been a problem. Look at the Constitution. This is the country that does not and has not lived up to the very principles written by the people in this country. And they change every day. You know, there wouldn't have been a need for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There wouldn't have been a need for housing rights, housing discrimination, legislation if it didn't exist. So we need to still understand that systemic racism exists in this country. And until we can have an honest conversation without people getting defensive, we're not going to be able to make too many of the changes, Art, that you're referring to.
Very good. Base, I'm going to give you a crystal ball. In this crystal ball, you're going to be able to tell us the future. What is going to happen next, you think? This pandemic is starting to wind down. Not as many, cases as we said earlier. The economy hopefully will, get back on track. People will go back to work and schools will open back up. Fingers crossed that this pandemic does not rear its ugly head again. What do you see in that crystal ball at least 6 months from now happening to our country?
Oh, that's a good loaded question, Art. I would say in the next 6 months, there will be some changes from the standpoint of us getting back out there further as a nation, as a people, obviously, to get back to, as we said earlier in the conversation, the new normal. The new normal is now. But again, I think you have to really still be careful, because if we get mixed signals from, say, the CDC, Dr. Anthony Fauci, when you talk about the variants of other strands supposed to come out in the summertime. So again, it's okay to get the shots. It's okay to go back out. We still got to practice, 6 feet. Still got to practice, mask wearing and everything else. So it's a catch-22. But I think that what we will do will become more educated in our society, become more aware of what we should do to be as careful as possible. But again, I just believe that if we're not too careful, we could see an uptick.
Right.
In the whole coronavirus thing. That's what I really fear in 6 months.
I do too. I really do. I think that, as much as we want to get this economy back on track, as much as we want to get our children back into in-person learning, what I'm learning from a lot of people, this remote working situation is actually the best. I know I've talked to so many people who said when their job gave them that option, they decided to take it. I've talked to at least 8 people who have relocated from, here and other places. And so that part of it, I think, employers will definitely have to look at things different. People who are creatives, much like ourselves, have to figure out ways to create things to keep the revenue coming in, what to do, how to do it. And so, we will see a shift and a change, but I really do fear that this pandemic, the COVID aspect of it, virus. In that crystal ball in the next 6 months.
I would agree with both of you. And referring to what Chris was saying, we are still engaged in a battle with something we really don't have a cure for this yet. This is a stopgap at the most. A couple of the vaccines, they're saying that we may even need a third shot, even if you've had 2. So this is just a way station as we still are engaged in dealing with the pandemic. And to your point, a good number of the properties downtown are still sitting vacant that used to house office buildings. The workplace is going to shift, and the platform for working is going to shift. The dollars towards marketing and things that used to be applied towards marketing are now going to be realigned and placed in other places. Most companies are down 25% on their spending on marketing alone. So we're actually definitely headed in a different direction. And the thing is that there's a COVID-19 because there have been COVID-18 and 17 and 16 before this. So what we really need to be doing is preparing ourselves for the next time. And that's really vital. And again, as I said to you before, Art, I think it's important to understand that this was a lesson. This is a cautionary tale, one that was very intense, probably the 3rd largest mass casualty event in United States history.
Right.
But it is a warning. And we need to heed this warning, whether we're looking at finance, whether we're looking at social services, our medical system, our healthcare system, our education system. These are all things we need to be taking a very serious look at and see how we can improve these systems so that they can become load-bearing members of our culture and our society. If we don't do that, we're going to end up back here again in another few years. We have one of these every few years.
All right. Oh boy, I'm not looking for more pandemics now. Oh my goodness, more money and more good health. But I don't know. I please, Lord,
I'm a realist.
No more
I learned my lesson.
All right, no more pandemics, Lord. That's all I'm gonna say. Brother Chris Bass, tell everybody how they can find you, follow you, do all that great stuff. You still do amazing shows. How are you in the gentleman trio, the men of no hair trio, I always call it. And then how's your Friday show going?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, when I do the Five Guys and You, we finally got a name for the program. That's every Saturday at 8. I thought Saturday, got my days mixed up. Then take two. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, we go on Facebook Live. It's called Five Guys and You. The great Lee Michaels and all of us. I like what you said, Art, about like it's like five bald guys and
yeah.
us. And so which is pretty much the truth. Yeah, we're follically challenged. All five of us. So yeah, we got
challenged. I like that. Yes. I like that. Right.
right. So we make a do every Thursday at Street News Now. So we take the topics of the day and we chop it up and let everybody come on into the comment section like you do with your show. And then I have my Friday show, Baseline. They catch that on 4 p.m. Central via Facebook Live, and my interview show on Wednesdays called CBI Chris Bass Interviews. Go to Facebook, type in Chris Bass. That once again, I must reiterate, here is the PSA. You'll come up with 1,800 Chris Basses. I am the original. Dark sunglasses, brown skin. I've been doing this for a while. I'm the original. As a little Rich used to say, please go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that my shows will be in the air.
Yes, sir. Well, you do an outstanding job. I appreciate you being here tonight. It's always a pleasure. You'll be back to hang out with us in the month of June because it's Black Music Month. And you and I are going to have to go back down memory lane. Chris Bass is the best person, you guys, to go back down memory lane. Anything that pertains to Black entertainment, Black, you name it. He's good. Kevin is also good at it. But Chris, we got a couple of shows we need to work out in the month of June to keep these people entertained. How about that?
I'm more looking forward to it. It's been my honor to be here.
All right, brother. God bless you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Chris Bass, Boom Shakalaka. Check him out on Facebook. Remember, dark glasses, round ball, and that voice, Boom Shakalaka. Thank you, brother. Boom God bless you. Have a great night. All right. Yeah, very good. For those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. So glad to be here with you guys on this wonderful, wonderful Tuesday evening, even though we are remembering the life and times of the late George Floyd. It was 1 year ago today that we all witnessed the murder of George Floyd. And tonight we're just talking about his life, police reform, how things have changed, not changed, will they change? Our co-host this evening is Mr. Kevin Ross of Twoguard Group. Kevin has been in the media business for years, a businessman now. He's here with us tonight just to talk about a lot of just things. Whenever he's here, we do have great dialogue. Kevin, are you okay so far? How you doing over there?
I'm irritated. You know, I said, man, I made a real concerted effort. I said, anytime I co-host with Chat Daddy, I got to look, my whole joint got to look hot. So I got my little backdrop. I'm like, yeah. I got my little royal blue couch. I said, yeah. And now, for some reason, I can't get my earbuds to work. So I'm speaking to you directly with the situation. I did my sound check. I did everything before this, and I thought it was all good. But
well, no, you know, that's why we do sound check and lighting from our end early, or so that we can make sure, because the backdrop, you need to have it lighter though, because it's so dark behind you.
Is it really? It looks
a backdrop shouldn't be that dark. You need to always have lighting on it. That's what I teach in my class.
Okay, so
yeah, absolutely. I might have to give you an admission to the next class.
I might have to save up my.
That's not going. That's not do. That's not.
Do it. You can't do it.
No, that ain't gonna help you. Like Roosevelt Franklin sitting there. That ain't gonna help. No, That is not gonna help it. So listen,
That's
you
not gonna
guys.
help me.
No, let me do this before we bring our next guest in. Guess what, you guys? The Real Deal Relationship Chat is back. It is. Yes, absolutely. I started this 26 years ago in my living room, and I've had over 11 couples get married and meet. Actually, 12 couples have gotten married and met at my relationship chat. So on Sunday, June 13th from 4 to 8 p.m., we'll be at Teriyaki Madness in the South Loop. It's going to be a great celebration. We are following all COVID restrictions and guidelines. The space is huge. We're going to have vendors. Each admission will entitle you to try Teriyaki Madness's wonderful food. We featured them here on the show, and Teriyaki Madness is a tremendous help to me by letting me have this space to do a post-COVID gathering, a safe post-COVID gathering. So please come out, support. If you guys would like to be a part of it, we have it very easy and simple for you. This is the URL code right here. All you have to do is take your smartphone or your tablet and just scan this URL code right there. Tickets are 26. Oh, am I on the camera? Or the URL code is there. Tickets are $26 per person, but that includes a meal, a complimentary soft drink. There'll be food, vendors. It'll be a great time, and it'll be a reunion. I'm inviting couples, singles, anybody who wants to come out and talk about relationships. Join us on June 13th. June 13th. Kevin, did you put it on your calendar?
I put it on my calendar. I was trying to see the price. Did you say $26.50?
Absolutely. You want me to put that scan up there again, brother?
Yeah, put it up there again. That's a great price. You get a meal. You get a drink, and you get the network for $26.
Yes,
put that up there again, man.
And you get to hang out with me and all of that. So you'll have a great time. So for those of you all that would like to attend, now grab your tablet, your smartphone. However, open your camera up, Kevin. Let's practice. See if it works. See if it'll work. Test it and see. You don't have to pay.
I'm actually on.
Oh, you're already on your, okay. All right. Well,
but I mean, I'm on my laptop, and it looks like it's happening. Here's the funny thing, right? So
there it is.
There it is. So it looks like it works. Here's the funny part of this. So I'm on the mailing list for Teriyaki Madness, right? I've never been, and I've been telling myself I'm gonna go because I'm a huge Chinese food and Japanese food guy. Huge. Okay. And I love teriyaki. Teriyaki is my absolute favorite. So now I get to kill two birds with one stone. I get to support you with my ticket, and I get to come and eat.
Yay, very good. Well, that's what I want to hear. All right. Well, our next guest this evening is a co-founder of a new ad agency that I am very excited to welcome to the show this evening. I've actually known this gentleman for many years, and he has been a proven leader in the business world, truly a great creative. And the new agency is Nature Boy. And I'm curious to know how the name came about. Two brothers, yesterday being National Brothers Day, that used to work together, have come together to start this agency. Please welcome to the show the co-founder of Nature Boy Ad Agency, Mr. William Penn. William,
hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Huh? Wait, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
A little bit. You're faint.
Bring it up just a little bit.
Turn it up, sorry. Test.
We can hear you. It's faint, but we can hear you.
Okay.
You sound like you're coming to us from a flying saucer.
From a what?
A flying saucer.
Doesn't it? It sounds like he like space.
Right. There's a little blue guy behind him.
I am back. Can you hear me?
Yay, there we are.
Yay.
What's happening, sir? How are you this evening?
I'm good, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see both of you guys again.
Absolutely. So I didn't realize this. Art didn't tell me it was William Penn.
Yes.
William and I met years ago when I was working with Tyrese on his book.
Yes. Just saw the book the other day. He gave me a signed copy. I appreciate that.
Yep, absolutely. He came to do one of the festivals, and
Yeah.
that's when you and I met.
Yes,
Yeah.
back in the African Festival of the Arts, I think in Washington Park.
Yep, probably maybe 2014, 2015.
So they all run together at some point. I don't know.
I know. William
plus,
is that guy. I've been knowing William.
Plus my experiences with Tyrese. That's a whole nother show. We'll talk about that on another show.
William has been that guy for years. So, William, first of all, how did the name of the agency come about? And I know you and Mr. Williams actually were colleagues at Carol H. Williams' agency. So, please tell us the history behind the story of the agency and how you guys came together.
Well, as you just said, we both was colleagues at Carol H. Williams. And as you know, at some point I led the events team, and he was on the finance side. And he had to come over and decide and try to help in financing or making sure I stayed within budget. And so we just grew and worked together for 10 years. And we thought, wow, this would be a great opportunity now to kind of branch off and do what we do there, but for other people. And the name, and right quick, and the name Nature Boy was something that he came up with. It was a nickname that was of his father's. And the history, unfortunately, he's out of town, so he couldn't give you the deep history. But the name, he named the agency based off of a nickname for his father. And as they say, the rest is history.
So, William, I have a question. You all, what do you specialize? What is your specialty? Because you really are a boutique type of agency, and to be, created by two Black men, that's very impressive, especially in this day and age. But what is what do you guys truly specialize in at your agency?
We specialize in marketing and engagement to the baby boomers generation. We work with hospitals and cars and different products that are trying to re-engage that community, because that community in general still have a lot of money to spend, and they're still influencers, even though we all think that the influencers are the 19, 20, 25-year-olds. But people 45 and up still buys a lot of products. And so we wanted to make sure that they are getting spoken to correctly.
Very, very good. I agree with you on that more than anything, because people do think it's that younger demographic, but those that like the finer things in life, those that understand quality, and they will pay that price to be able to do the right things. And that's just a matter of good taste. I want to find out, what clients will you serve? You did mention a few clients. So you're looking for more, would it be more food-driven clients? Would it be more just consumer market, or across the board?
Well, that's a good question, Art. I think basically across the board. We're a sub-agency, so we get a lot of work from the main advertising. So we still work closely with Carol H. Williams. We work with, we're looking to be working with Leo Burnett real soon. So we just have a niche area, and when agencies get accounts and they want to address that community, we always try to make sure our name is in the hat to try to pitch for that type of business.
Very good. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of Black entrepreneurship. All three of us are what I consider Black entrepreneurs that are trying to make a difference in this world. And I am very proud, William, of what you gentlemen have created with your agency. Kevin, the work that you do as well, too. What do we want the world to see from us, William, as African Americans? As you said, our great spending power, but are there some other things that you think the world needs to know about us and what we do?
Oh, yes, definitely. So the really main questions, unfortunately for the group that's actually here and listening to us, the over 50 crowd, I know you guys are still under 50, so you won't probably not know what I'm talking about. But, It's a
Nice, very nice. I'll send you $100 right here, right now, cash out.
I appreciate that, William. I do. But that's a lie. But okay, continue
Straight
with your
up lie, but
conversation.
go on.
Right, continue with your conversation. Yeah, whatever.
Well, one thing that's very important that we all, and I know you are, and very for a long time, and both you co-hosts, is doing your second cup of tea. Yes, what's the second thing? We all started out in something else. We are all entrepreneurs by heart, and we all just turned on a dime and started something else. We saw a need, a niche. There's a need for this type of show and this type of programming, and it's great that it's free for people to come in and out and listen to it. And that's basically what I want to say, that we're too young to retire and say we're just going to go fishing and move to Florida. We're out here starting second careers and third careers and talking about it. And so we're now bringing it full circle that all the stuff that we teach and did with other people, we're now doing for ourselves. And I just think that the world knows that. And I know one of our big component, AARP, really is moving forward and trying to get that type of messaging out. And that's basically what we're at Nature Boys trying to get through to everybody.
Very good. Well, William, I am available to MC anything because I love the demographic you're talking about. I am available to MC and host and make your crowds feel great. And since we having this Black entrepreneurs conversation, I just thought I'd throw my hat in the ring.
Shameless. They call that
right.
a shameless plug.
That's right. That's right. And look, I am beyond the chicken dinners at the end of the day. I am beyond that. You remember that folks paying a chicken dinner? So I am way beyond the chicken dinners now because I'm trying to go eat at Steak 48, and they say you got to spend at least $100 there. So,
with a collared shirt on.
With a collared shirt on, exactly. Absolutely.
But both you guys got that. So I'm just hoping that when y'all ask for the doggy bag, you just kind of dropped it back off on your way back home.
Oh my God! Look, man,
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm waiting for my link comes on the 10th every month, and I sit there and look at that. I look at that Cash App once I know that link is in there.
Lord have mercy. Well, William, I am very happy for both of you gentlemen. I think it's just amazing. I have actually put your agency information here on the let me add it to here tonight. What else do you want us to know about the agency?
Basically, we handle people, products, and companies, and this entrepreneurial spirit. We are a Black agency, but we do handle all nationalities, shall I say, to be politically correct. As long as the money is green, and we do take, I call them food stamps, but I think you guys call it something new these days.
Link, my brother.
Everything, and as long as you know me, I've done a whole bunch of pro bono because this is my love. I've been doing it for almost 30 years, and we just work with great people. And when we come up, the whole organization, everybody come up. And I've been knowing you guys a long time, and not to talk over you, Art. I've been knowing you guys a long time, and I've seen you on radio, TV, book tours, concert tours. My man here is always dealing with the music and promotion. And Art, I've seen you from TV to radio to Facebook here. And I definitely will utilize you for some stuff in the future. And I will probably see you because I took the little QR code to come to your event, because I used to remember you used to have the relationship chats, and I used to come there because that's where all the women in Chicago was, and I had to try to go there and find me a wife.
That needs to be a soundbite on this show. That needs to be a soundbite. Look, thank you, William. I appreciate it. He said all the women in Chicago show up at the chat. They do.
Up, and they all know. Everybody know Chat Daddy, and it's just a pleasure that I finally got a chance to get on your show. I've been trying to get on your show. I had to hire 5 PR people just to pitch me. And finally, Lydia, my publicist, did a good job. So I'm gonna have to pay her that $100 that Kevin just sent me to her for thanking her for letting me be on your show. And it's always a pleasure. And if you ever need me to come back on and talk about any subjects in this area, I would love to be able to continue that chat with you, both you fellows.
Absolutely. I appreciate
Yep.
you for that. You're absolutely right. You do an outstanding job when it comes to events and marketing. And I'm just happy to know that two Black men have started something, and then to know exactly who you guys are going after and target, and that you are still holding that demographic in high regards. I think that is beautiful as well too, because everybody now wants to cater to the younger demographic. But as you said before, please don't forget that other demographics do like to spend money, do like the finer things in life and all of that. And that's what I've been out here teaching a lot of people who I've been trying to work with and training them. Like, listen, you want to embrace everybody, LGBTQ plus, Latinx, the African American, the aged community, the disabled community. You want to be all inclusive of all people. So I really do appreciate you for that. And I look forward to us working on some things. Kevin, what do you want to say in closing to William before we have to let him go?
Just, man, it's good to see you again. And it definitely brings back memories of that time and those times. And I think one of the things that should happen to all of us is we get to have these type of reunions so we see how far we've come.
Yes.
I think a lot of times we're very focused on what we want to achieve and what we don't have. But when you get in a situation like this, where you and myself are on our show, it reminds me of what I have achieved thus far and the goals that I have set for myself. And again, best success to you with your agency as well. And, I look forward to, I'm sure our paths will cross. I'm sure we're going to work on some things probably together, especially events wise. So just good to see you, brother.
Good to see you guys too. And thank you so much again for having me, guys.
Pleasure. Hold on one second. We're going to put the agency up there. If you guys need any information from this wonderful agency, it is right here. Please check them out. Go visit their website. Support any way you can. It's natureboyevents.com. That's natureboyevents.com. Check them out. Thank you, William Penn. Tell everybody I said hello. Tell them I send my best. And it's about time for us to have a breakfast or coffee date soon.
Sounds good.
He's getting out of here just in time. I was going to sing. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy.
Okay, let me leave.
That's what Nature Boy reminds me of.
And on that note, please support natureboyevents.com. Buy Kevin Ross's album on late night TV. You can buy 3 of his albums for $2. All right, William, have a great night. Thanks again, brother.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Good to see you, boss. Take care.
All right, brother. We did that. We knocked that out the ballpark. That was good. I'm glad to see
thank you so much for having me. And again, my albums will be available. If you haven't seen the late night commercials where they say, "No, my brother, you got to get your own Kevin Ross album."
Kevin Ross album. And so what else is on the Kevin Ross album? What else would be on this? And look, as the people used to say, album. What else gonna be in this album?
Well, the most successful verses in the history of the Instagram music battle was Earth, Wind, and Fire versus the Isley Brothers. That was the most successful one, the most watched. So I probably would have to put something by Earth, Wind, and Fire on there, man. And by the way, I personally think Earth, Wind, and Fire won that, but that's just me.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd give that to Earth, Wind, and Fire because from a commercial standpoint, they've had more commercial hits than the Isley Brothers. That's not to say that they're a better group. That's not to say that the Isley Brothers aren't legendary and historic, but Earth, Wind, and Fire was on the Beatles sound, that Got to Get You Into My Life. That was on a soundtrack to the Beatles adaptation. They've had more disco records when disco was big. Earth, Wind, and Fire had 2 of the hugest records during the disco era. Philip Bailey is still one of the greatest singers of our era, and may Chicago's one of Chicago's best, Maurice White, may he rest in peace. Great producer. So I had to kind of give the edge to Earth, Wind, and Fire on that.
Okay. All right. Well, Kevin, tell everybody what you have coming up, how they can reach you, find you, follow you, all that great stuff. We're going to get out of here.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Art, for allowing me the opportunity. I have a blast. I think I'm gonna get this brighter light that I saw on Amazon for $39.99. It's a big old circle that you can light up everything, because this light here is the one that I bought, but it's not really doing what it needs to do. So I'm gonna take a lesson from your class, which, by the way, if any of you out there are trying to do marketing or promotion or PR, actually
it's none of that. It's none. Let me explain. I can flip your box over. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. So my webinar is basically to help individuals become better at just this type of situation.
Absolutely.
If you are trying to do any Zoom, if you're trying to do Good Morning America, the Today Show, Windy City Live, any of those particular type of shows, I'm showing you how to set up yourself properly. There should be proper headspace, proper lighting, proper background, just even how close the camera is on you. That's what the class is really about. So if you're trying to elevate your brand, if you're trying to get out there, Good Morning America could have you on as an expert just like anybody else. But bro, they're not going to have you as an expert and they can't see you. And your background is not appealing and you faking the funk. And that's what a lot of people think is what draws people to watch things. And it's not. It's about creating an image. It's about making people, this looks as if I'm in a studio. Eventually I'm going to go to another background, but right now I've created a studio in my residency. And that's what people look at. Even when you're interviewing for a job. Now, I wouldn't interview for a job with this in the background, but I have a whole nother place in my home that I do other things from, and I broadcast from there. And every time I do, people say, wow, where are you? I'm in my home. But it's great.
You'd be surprised at how affordable it is to actually get these tools to be able to outfit yourself. But Art, we're going to do this like a commercial, like infomercial. But Art, here it is. But Art, tell them about the pitch. Tell them about pitching.
The insider secret to successfully booking your brand, products, and organizations with yours truly is Saturday, June 12th, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's an hour-and-a-half long webinar. And if there's anything that you need to know about just presenting yourself the right way, making sure your brand looks right, keep in mind you are what people see. And so it's important that you do present the right brand, the right image, whether you've written a book, product, whatever the case may be. Here's the deal. It may only be however many people watching, but you'd be surprised how the right people are watching this show. Decision makers are watching this show. And so I tell people, when you come on here, you want to present the best image possible because you also are representing your brand. So join me on Saturday, June 12th, 11 a.m. Central Standard. Each person who is a registered participant will also receive a 30-minute free consultation where I walk you through whatever it is your issue and problem may be. And
because you're my brother and I love you, I wanted you to have this platform to talk about your joint because I believe it is vitally important for myself. You can find me at TWOGUARD Media on Instagram. I'm not pushing my personal pages as much because now the business is growing and I've got to push the business side of it because all the phone calls are coming in about booking artists for events, about representing individuals and their brands. So you can catch me there on Instagram. At Facebook, it is the Twoguard Group. That's TWOGUARD GROUP. That is where you can come. You have an opportunity to see what we do over here. We've just become part of Choose Chicago. We've become a partner with Choose Chicago. So I am ecstatic about that. And there are going to be some great opportunities for a lot of people out there who are really trying to get themselves back on track after the pandemic. Remember that it's about separation with your brand. So you may think that you're the only one teaching yoga. Well, there are thousands of yoga teachers out there. How do you separate yourself from those thousands? That's what we do.
Absolutely. Very good. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our co-host, the one and only Mr. Kevin Ross. Outstanding job tonight, brother. I appreciate you so very much for being here with us tonight. Great job. A reminder again, ladies and gentlemen, the Real Deal Relationship Chat 26th anniversary celebration. 26 years ago, I started this in my living room. I'm proud to boast about the fact that people have actually gotten married as a result of coming to my event. And if you'd like to come to the event, here is the information about it. It will be taking place from 4 to 8 p.m. Teriyaki Madness, which is located in the South Loop. Your admission will include a junior entree bowl. It's plentiful. Their food is outstanding there. A complimentary soft drink, music, entertainment, and a wonderful relationship chat. For those of you all that cannot get that small URL code right there, guess what? We've been able to put the URL code right here. You will be charged $26. That will include everything. All you have to do is take your smartphone or tablet and hit this scan with your camera, and you'll be able to get your tickets. Get your tickets now. We're doing limited spacing, but the venue is very big, very airy, and we're going to have a really great time. I promise you guys. If you want ask that you please direct them to the National Suicide Prevention. What is going on? This is not okay. Here we go. Something is happening. The National Suicide Prevention.
You're back. We got you.
Thank you. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Coming up tomorrow night on the show, Kay Renee is back in the co-host seat, and Dr. Wanda Parker will be here with us tomorrow night to talk about the mental aspect of what this pandemic has done to us. Kevin, did you know there are a lot of new illnesses that have come as a result of this pandemic?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything from our mental health and to our emotional health, physical health. Again, this was a game changer in terms of the impact that it's had on our culture. So I would have no doubt that there have been definitely some changes.
Cosmetic surgery is up 80% because of people and doing things like this and having to see themselves all the time. And see, I'm used to this. I'm used to it. So it doesn't bother me. And then I flip the script, change my image, all that kind of stuff. But absolutely. But there are people who are having all kind of surgeries. And then there are people who want to look exactly like their filtered pictures. And so we're going to have a plastic surgeon on one night to talk about, I look at people like a lot of the rap female, like Little Kim. Little Kim does not even look like who we used to know her from back in the day.
She doesn't even look. She looks like a completely different person.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate thing about social media is that as a tool, it's a blessing and a curse. What it's done is it's taken a lot of people out of reality and a real fear of and refusal to be real, be themselves. So there's a need to project an image, and unfortunately, social media is one of the reasons suicides are up as well. As the plastic surgeries that you were referring to. So it's very unfortunate that that's where we are. It's a double-edged sword for me because for my business, I need social media and I use social media, but there are times where I'd like to take a week away from it just to not even be bothered because it's also unhealthy for you.
Right. All right. Well, with that being said, we really do appreciate you guys for being here tonight. Do me a favor, go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Real Chat Daddy Show on YouTube. It's free, it's easy, it's simple. Hit that little bell so That way you'll get notifications of when the show is coming back on. As you guys all know, we are pitching on this show and preaching the fact that we would like to keep wearing our mask until November of 2025. That's your choice. I'm still fully vaccinated and will still be wearing my mask for some time to come until we know we are out of this situation. All right. Well, on behalf of my good friend, Mr. Kevin Ross of Twoguard Group, and yours truly, Art Chat Daddy Sims, I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Thank you so very much. Tomorrow night, another great show. Kay Renee is back in the co-host chair. Dr. Wanda Parker will be here. And then Thursday night, we have a really great relationship show coming up. And then that'll be our last show to mark the week and to go into the holiday weekend. And we'll be in June. We'll be in LGBTQ Pride Month and Black Music Month. So we have a lot to celebrate and a lot of feathers and sparkles next month. How about that?
All right.
All right.
I love
All
it.
right.
Hey man, I am really looking forward to your event. I just recently became single for the 437th time during my lifetime. So I'm looking forward to it. Yep.
You single again?
I'm single
well,
again.
as William so eloquently said, that I attract all the women in the city of Chicago, which he's absolutely right. So
I'm ready.
I appreciate
I'm ready,
that.
brother.
And these ladies want to get out here and mingle, but I want to make sure I have some of the cream of the crop for everybody to get out here and talk to.
All
right, brother. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night, you guys. God bless. See you soon. All right, we're out.
Cheers, 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 cheers.
Good evening, ladies and